there. In and around the fields on the rural highways, boy, I've seen this happen a number of times, as that water gets really going and piles up quickly, and then not only does it bring the water with it or the flooding with it, but it brings the mud. And then that will sit on the highway. And that is particularly dangerous, and I've seen this happen as well, in that you may think that's only an inch or 2 or even 3 inches of mud on the roadway, but let me tell you, that stuff is super, super, super slick. And so your car will slide on that in a big, big, big hurry. Let's go back to radar scope. I'm wanting to say we may be seeing a new rotation develop there. Shelby, you want to comment on that? On the velocity product? I caught her in mid-drink, sorry.
No, sorry, it does look to be a little gate to gate. I'm not seeing anything in the storm chat, though.
Right.
About, from the Weather Service about extending that.
Yep.
No comments so far, but I'm keeping an eye on it to see what they have to say about it as it's developing.
Yep, and that's going to be in the pretty much the exact same area. Actually, it's just south of 1058. Still west of Hereford, still east of Bootleg, so not going to threaten any populated areas. But you see at the end of the loop there in that circle, the northern part of the circle that I've drawn, we're now getting brighter. We're getting into the brighter red and pink colors. And if I stop this and put on this other tool that we have, we can talk about winds there. So that's suggesting a wind speed there of 50 miles per hour away from the radar site. That's a new picture right there. So we're still in the 50-mile-an-hour range. What we're going to watch for is to see if we see any inbound or green get close to this outbound red right in here, and that's the highway right there. We're going to see if those get closer together and they get brighter, which would indicate a new rotation and a new possible tornado. Don't see it yet, but that's what we're looking at right now. Current time is 10:57. We have 3 more minutes to go on the tornado warning in Deaf Smith County. Pardon me. Right here at the top of the hour, especially if, either if this is canceled or extended, we'll go back on TV and let folks know. But still that possibility for some chaotic winds with any of these thunderstorms going through the late night and the overnight periods. So let's talk about the way you would get warnings overnight. If you have a NOAA weather radio, you want to make sure you leave that on. If you don't have our app, News Channel 10 weather app, you can go and download that and set it up to wake you in the middle of the night, because everybody wants to go to bed, everyone wants to sleep, but you want something to give you, get your attention if we get another tornado warning. And that will not be, you won't get all of them for any particular, for the whole area rather. You can kind of target where you want to see that warning for your county or your area, and that will give you a chance to wake up in the middle of the night and see what we're looking at as far as any new warnings that might need to occur. So I think we're getting some brighter returns on the velocity product, which is bad news for wind speed. Oh, it peaked a little bit, and now it's weakened just a tiny little bit once again. And I don't see a real strong rotation signature. They are in. Okay, yeah.
I don't have a time yet.
Probably that new rotation there. Okay. Yeah, I bet that'll go at least until 10, 11, 20, 11, 25. But again, the good news, it is out in open country. It's crossing the highway right now. Let me go back to our radar scope product. This is the roadway 1058 in between Hereford and Bootleg. So that new potential rotation is just to the south side of the highway, and it's going to drift back off to the north. So I'm going to go back over to the weather wall and do a quick cut-in on TV. Thanks for sticking with us here.
The tornado warning is going for till 11:30. They've also issued a flash flood warning.
Oh, yep.
Until 3 a.m.
Does not surprise me. Okay. 3 a.m.
Same storm is producing lots of rainfall, so they issued that flash flood warning to include the same area.
Okay. Quick update here on TV. The tornado warning for the central portion of Smith County has been extended because of possible rotation. It will now be in effect until 10:30. So we're talking about right here to the west of Hereford. Rain expanding across the rest of the region. But again, a quick radar update here for you on television. I'm going to go back to programming in just a minute because we're running our stream if you want to see that. And the tornado rotation is out over open country. So it's not affecting any populated areas right now. If it gets close, obviously, we'll come back in and let you know. So here is the general idea. The core of the storm right here across Smith County is providing that rotation, and also the extremely heavy rain has prompted a flash flood warning that is in effect until 3 a.m. and this was the runoff that I've talked about a little earlier. It comes down so heavy, but the runoff will continue for a couple of hours afterwards. It'll get across any roadways, it'll bring the mud with it, things like that, and that threat will be there even in the morning for covered roadways with mud or whatever it is, even beyond the expiration of the warning. So that goes till daybreak tomorrow morning. So if you're heading out early, is my point, you're going to have to deal with that. Let's drill down a little closer, Shelby, if we can, and we'll see the new polygon if we take off the reflectivity, and I'll just give you an idea where this thing is. Okay, so it's further away from Bootleg. There's good news there. What we're seeing on the velocity product is the spin coming right in here and just west of Hereford. It's not too close to Hereford. It is still just west, and I think the drift or the movement would be from probably south to north, or maybe just a little bit north-northwest. So the rotation would be on the highway right there. So it's west of Hereford. Doesn't mean Hereford is not completely out of the woods, but you're not in the tornado warning right now. We'll keep you posted on that. We've got the streams going on NewsChannel10.com and Facebook and YouTube as well. So again, with the knowledge that the tornado warning has been extended until 11:30 for the central portion of Smith County. It is not overpopulated areas right now. We'll go back to programming. We got the stream going here on all of our streaming platforms at News Channel 10. Well, there it is, wrapping up, right?
So do you want to take back to radar for the stream then?
This one, yeah, that one, yep. This is the velocity product here, and what we're talking about there is a new tornado warning, obviously, and the new rotation area would be right there, south of the roadway. That blue line is the highway. So if I do a little distance check on that, here's Hereford. That's going to be about 7 miles west of Hereford on Highway 1058. As far as Bootleg, I'll kind of eyeball that and make an educated guess there. That's going to be closer to almost 15 miles to the east of Bootleg, still well south of Sims. Anything on the chat we want to share? We're going to go a little bit more relaxed as far as the streaming platform, because again, it's out over open country, but we'll kind of stick with you for a little while longer.
No, nothing new. They just issued that flash flood warning. They kind of extended it over to that area when they reissued the tornado warning, but that's about it that we've seen.
Okay, that's a good point. Let me back out and we'll kind of give you an idea where that flash flood warning is. Right here. So that's from Hereford westward, basically, northward to Sims. Okay, 11:10, our next TV cut-in. Thanks very much. We will take that one. The pattern here has been for these to spin up and not last too long and then weaken, because this is what now the third
Extension, yes, it was.
Well, the third rotation,
yes.
Different rotation signature.
It was 10:30 and then it was 11 and now it's 11:30, so it's holding up.
Yeah, and that one definitely is, and we're getting close to some stronger gate-to-gate shear, which we've kind of talked about. Again, this bright red is wind going that way, and this bright green is wind going that way. And so right in here in between is where you can kind of interpret the rotation, and that's why they keep pulling the trigger on these warnings. Again, this is such a chaotic setup right now that it's hard for them to maintain themselves, these little spins, because they're getting interrupted with new updrafts coming from one direction or a new little gust front or an outflow boundary coming from another direction. So again, it's very hard to maintain, and that's why this one's sort of what we call cycling. It's not the same rotation that's coming down and going back up and coming down. It's new rotations that are developing. In fact, we go back over to, I'm going to just back out of the shot and go back over to this other radar product. I think this is where it is right here. Let me stop the rotation or the animation. And so we're right in here where it says Westway. Okay, and you can see there, let me get so I can draw something. There's our rotation right there. So we've got some moist air feeding the storm right there. There's plenty of rain, but again, that rotation right there. So that would be what we saw on the velocity product just a second ago. And if I loop that again, you can see, you know what, let me slow down. We're going to go just the last 30 minutes. Let's save that, and then we're going to go a little slower and loop it again. That's okay. We can just, we're going to be cash on the stream. Yeah, yeah, that's okay. I'm getting my exercise now, finally. But I do want to thank Shelby publicly for staying late, because she worked late last night chasing in Miami, and then worked early this morning, and then came back to do coverage late this afternoon. So Shelby, a public thank you for that. Actually, okay, let me finish my thought on this. So the spot marked Westway, which I think is just an intersection there, but that's where the rotation is currently. And so it's going to drift northward. Let me run this again. It's going to drift northward away from or north of the highway right there. But the other thing I think it will probably do is sort of wrap in on itself, is what we call it. It just kind of the heavy rain wraps around the south and east side of the storm, and it basically just disrupts that that rotation. So, I'm sorry?
I was talking to Drew.
Okay. So Shelby, let me get out of that and then go back to this. We have 3 minutes before the next TV cut-in. Tell us about your experience in Miami last night chasing with Alex, because you did not have just rotation. You had a tornado.
I did. We thought it was 2 separate tornadoes. We did find out today from a report issued by the Weather Service that it was indeed just 1 tornado, but it did, this one, I mean, the rotation was really strong on this one last night, and it produced a tornado, and it was pretty good sized one, and it was kind of a little bit creepy, because the only way you could see it was when the lightning flashed behind it. So occasionally we would lose visual of it, and we'd have to look around and just stare in the dark spot that we thought that's where it was, and wait for that backflash of that lightning to confirm that for us. So great second day.
Yeah, that was quite an experience for you. Let me interrupt you for half a second and
so
say that this new image is clearly showing brighter speeds. Let's do a poll of that right there. So now we're talking about 65-mile-an-hour winds in one direction, and then we could also see, well, it's not gate to gate right now necessarily, but we've got 40 winds in the other direction. So if there is a tornado on the ground, you're approaching speeds that are around 90 to maybe 100 miles an hour. There's the new picture that came in. And go back to Max 1. I'm going to let you talk about your storm a little bit more, because this, again, this rotation is definitely there, but it is out in the open country west of Hereford. But look what I'm going to put up here, Shelby. The Weather Service went and did a report there.
let me take this really quick.
Yeah.
Max one.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
So you there we go.
Yeah.
Yes.
So tell us what happened. This is the Weather Service goes and does damage surveys, and Joanne Cullen went today from the National Weather Service in Amarillo and sent out this report, and then you also got a note from her. So give us a little detail there.
We did look at that a little bit throughout today. We saw that tornado. God was looking out for you guys in Miami for sure, because it just barely brushed town, and it did miss it. So thankfully we did not see any damage when I was there last night with Alex and Caleb. It did have a pretty long track. It was on the ground for over 11 miles, and it got about 200 yards wide. It was on the ground for over 35 minutes instead of 36 in the
30
report
seconds,
today.
Okay.
Peak winds of 110 miles per hour, and the best news of all, there were no injuries or reported fatalities of any kind with this event. So we do always love to see that.
Okay. We are so glad that you were there to watch that, because that helped us warn folks in that area. Coming up on a TV cut-in here on News Channel 10, so we're going to do that and take a pause in just a second, do that very quickly. But the reissued tornado warning again is now until I think 11:30, right? So we're seeing some increased speed on the velocity product, and we'll talk about that on TV. I'm going to have you show velocity too over there. Okay, third time we've had this tornado warning updated, and it is currently in effect for the central portion of Smith County, out largely over open areas. A tornado warning that goes in effect until 11:30. We're right here. It's several miles, probably 8 or 9 miles, let's say 8 miles to the west of Hereford. This is the rotation right here over 1058, the highway. It is drifting to the north fairly slowly, but we have a pretty good indication that it might be on the ground if we switch over to the velocity product. Again, Hereford, you're not under threat with this tornado, and you're not in the polygon right now. Let's slow that one down if we can a little bit. But now it's right over the highway, so we've got outbound velocities right there. We got inbound velocities right there. In fact, it's long enough loop. That was the first one. This was the second one, and now this was the third one. Would there be a fourth one a little closer to Hereford? I don't think so, and I'll explain why in just a second, but that would be good news for Hereford. But that rotation, once again, is right on the highway, drifting northward out into open country over Smith County. Briefly, let's put the reflectivity back if we can. I'll explain why I don't think we're going to see that new rotation near Hereford, because the heavy precipitation is moving north of town. This will as well. So a break is coming in the rain for Hereford in the next couple of minutes. So that tornado warning until 11:30 out in the open in Smith County. If anything changes with regard to the populated areas, we're going to come back and tell you on TV. We're also streaming on our platforms on the website and on Facebook and on YouTube. Thanks for staying with us here at News Channel 10. Thank you. Okay, back to the stream.
Next one, 11:20.
Next one, I don't know yet.
I'm gonna go back and check the chat again, see if we have anything else there.
Oh yeah, here it is up here. Continuing the tornado warning.
There's someone is typing right now. I didn't realize when I was talking about my experience in Miami last night, my mic was not on, so I don't know how well that went across on the stream. My apologies, guys. I am running on fumes in my fuel tank right now, so I apologize for not triggering that mic.
Okay, so nothing particularly new other than the rotation still exists, and it is drifting northward right now. We're out away from the populated areas.
We did just get that they have trimmed the warning to better reflect the circulation, so still there. It's just going to be in a more concentrated, smaller area. So
yeah, and that'll probably take
off the radar, and
that'll probably take a minute to update.
Yeah, that'll have to take a minute to show up. But
well, while we wait on that, I'm going to go back to the velocity product on radar scope here, and let me just come back out a little bit, give you some bearings. I know there's a lot of clutter there, but that's Hereford. And that's, and then, yeah, just so let me do a measurement here. Right now, the rotation appears to be about 7 miles west of Hereford, right over and to the north of Highway 1058. So again, great news for Hereford. And I'll get you a little idea on the motion on this. You can see it kind of continuing to drift northward. So we're grateful that that is out over an unpopulated area as opposed to a popular area. We would like you to continue to, wow, that's tightened up. Well, the speed has gotten higher. I don't think it's any tighter.
We do have someone typing in the chat, so we might be getting an update here in just a minute.
Yeah, let's put the reflectivity product back on, if the computer will catch up. There we go. And so in this shot here, here's Hereford. And so this is the strongest part of the storm right here, and you can see it is drifting northward. So I think we're going to be okay in Hereford, at least for this part of the storm, and the rain will lift up a little bit. That said, what I'm meaning is the tornado threat is not going to get any higher in the very short term, in the moment for Hereford, but we're going to leave thunderstorm chances in the forecast through the late night and the overnight period, and the heavy rain and the flooding threat will increase as we go on through the overnight period as well, with some periods of very, very, very heavy rain. Have they trimmed that thing yet? Let's go back to our bog. We can just watch that live.
I have it up. I haven't seen it change thus far.
Yeah.
I have re-triggered it, but maybe it was a little bit more active, like
Okay.
a little bit faster updating. I haven't seen it so far. I've been
Yeah.
keeping an eye on the chat, but it looks to.
Well, and they've updated the tornadic circulation, as we've been talking about with regard to the brighter color. He said it seems to be becoming a little bit stronger. So
I'm wondering if that is the updated polygon, because that's what's showing up on our radar app and other things as well. So that might be the new trimmed polygon.
right.
It may
Yeah.
have triggered on our radar a little bit faster than I thought it was going to.
Okay. Either way, Hereford is not included, so that is some good news there. But that rotation is going to continue to drift on to the north. A ton of thunder and lightning as well, so obviously noisy down there.
Latest in the chat, the tornadic circulation is becoming a bit stronger, which
Yeah.
is a cause for concern. That maybe one is trying, a stronger tornado is trying, but we do not have any confirmations of anything on the ground or any confirmed tornadoes at this time.
Yeah, and that would be particularly hard to see. Oh, okay, so here's the velocity product. Let me go back to that and zoom in. This is what we're talking about with regard to the Weather Service. You see that it's pretty simple to figure out. Right in the center portion of your screen, the colors get brighter. We start to go from a red to a pink, and we go to a green color to sort of a light blue. Now, that's the rotation strengthening, and that's right in here. But that's pretty broad. That's a couple of miles wide. Right here, we get down to a couple of 100 yards, and we don't see gate-to-gate shear necessarily, or strong gate-to-gate shear. So what the Weather Service is saying is this storm is clearly rotating, but it certainly may not have a tornado with it at the moment. But again, we don't know for sure, and that's why we put out the tornado warning, and it's going to go for another 12, 13 minutes until 11:30. As we get closer to 11:30, they will continue to evaluate and decide whether they need to extend that warning. So yeah, that's looking pretty hot right there as far as the speed and the rotation there. We can do a little wind measurement. So now we've got inbound winds moving toward the radar. That's at 60 miles per hour. A couple 100 yards off to the north. The brightest there is about 40. So once again, if you get close to producing a tornado, you're talking about winds that go 80 plus, 90 plus right there. And that can obviously do some damage. But once again, as we keep kind of mentioning, thankfully, we are talking about it being out in open country, which is obviously very good news. How about we put the radar back on max 1, and we'll get ready for another TV update in just a couple of minutes. I'm actually going to give my voice a rest for just a minute, and we're going to go on TV here in just a minute, but if you want to keep your eye on the stream on the radar, please feel free to do that.
I have been getting some notifications from our KFDA First Alert Weather app saying there's some heavy rain near us here in Amarillo. My husband is in our apartment in Canyon, and he said it is coming down there as well. So, Kevin, you might get a little bit of some rain in your gauge for the showdown. So it needs to rain some more here at the station so I can stay in touch with you. But lots of heavy rain coming into Canyon, looking to kind of start tracking north towards Amarillo. We're looking at seeing some stuff popping up near Claude.
1 minute.
Most of it's looking to stay. The heavier stuff especially is north of Happy and Wayside, Tulia Dimmitt. Right now, we are expecting probably to see some more throughout the nighttime hours, but in this date right now at 11:19, we are seeing the most of that heavy rain starting to track just north of Canyon. It should be lightening up in Canyon here soon, actually, and it's looking to make its way towards the city.
30.
Okay, we're going to do TV update real quick. We're going to do both reflectivity and velocity, please,
Okay.
since that has clearly strengthened. And
Also,
talk about that.
Double checking the chat, nothing else at this time. I'll keep an eye on that as you're on, Kevin, and let you know if that changes.
Thank you very much.
So you want to start with the with this radar reflectivity right
Yeah,
here?
that's fine.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay, another quick radar update here for our tornado-warned storm. Officially that warning until 11:30 in the central portion of Deaf Smith County. Before we drill down on that, I want to take a look at Amarillo southward along 27. See how we've gotten much more yellow and then orange and then red. So obviously if you're under that, you know that the rain is increasing in intensity, but that's going to be the pattern for much of the region during the late night, the overnight period. Not seeing any rotation on the I-27 corridor from Happy northward through Canyon or to Amarillo. That doesn't mean there won't be some a little later. We're going to keep an eye on that. But let's now switch over to the velocity product and drill down on our tornado-warned storm. They are concerned, the Weather Service, as am I, that the rotation is strengthening. If you want to loop that,
I'm gonna slow it down again.
Yeah,
Sorry,
again.
it's
That's okay.
taking off so fast.
There's the rotation north of the highway right now. It started south of the highway. It has drifted off almost due north and is probably a mile or two north of the highway. That's good news for Hereford in that it is demonstrating the same behavior as the first two areas of rotation that did weaken once they got north of the highway. In fact, I'm going to say that's a new picture. See how quickly the green drops out? So I think that's very good news in that if there was a tornado on the ground, it has probably lifted, but it's still out open country. We'll watch the trend. We'll be in communication with the Weather Service. We're streaming on the website and also Facebook and also YouTube, so we can keep you posted there if you want to punch that up and stick with us on that. So again, I think a noticeable weakening from radar scan to radar scan, which is good news. And in Hereford, you are not included in the warning, and so it's just to the west of you, and it'll stay out in open country. So I'll come back during the next commercial break for a TV update, and we're streaming as well. Thanks for staying with us here at News Channel 10. Q. That dropped off big time. Is
Still
Nubia in
not
there? Oh yeah, she's in there.
A whole lot.
Oh, she's in it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Okay, I'm gonna take radar again. I'm looking at some comments on our Facebook Live. I've been kind of looking at a few of them. A lot of people are asking about other areas, not Hereford, but I'm seeing comments asking about Wildorado, Friona, Clarendon.
Yep.
So far, everybody else, the only place that has this tornado warning, Hereford is not even included in this exact polygon. Right now, I'm going to zoom in a little bit on this. That polygon does not include Hereford. The biggest point of rotation, it's kind of hard to see, but Hereford is right over here. I'm going to use the pencil.
Yeah,
This is
we've got it on
Hereford.
max if you want to go there.
Over here, it is not included in the polygon. The polygon is this red spot over here. So that tornado, some people are saying, well, I'm not hearing sirens in Hereford. It is not tracking towards Hereford proper right now. It is actually tracking kind of a, would you say north-northwest?
Yeah, and they're not incled in the
And
warning
in
either.
the Hereford is not included in the warning. So if you're saying, oh my gosh, I don't hear the tornado sirens. If you're in Hereford, this storm, if it is a tornado, this rotation, whatever it may be, it is not heading towards Hereford proper. So if you do live in Hereford, you don't have to worry about it. Be prepared, of course, as always, to be entering those basements, getting into those safe spaces. But as of right now, this particular rotation is not tracking towards Hereford. So you guys in Hereford are okay at the time. As for the rest of the towns across the Panhandle, there are no other tornado warnings at this time. If you are in some different areas around the Panhandle, we do have lots of heavy rain stretching all the way from this tornado-warned storm through southward of Amarillo. My husband is in Canyon. He's at our apartment. He texted me a little bit ago and said it is coming down in Canyon right now. That looks like that's going to be lightening up here in just a little bit, but there are no other tornado warnings. There are no other severe thunderstorm warnings for anywhere else. So if you are anywhere else in the Panhandle, you hear thunder, you see lots of lightning, you hear some heavy rain, don't panic. As of right now, there are no severe thunderstorm warnings, so it looks to just be some good heavy rain for a majority of the region right now. We do have a flash flood warning also issued in the area of that same tornadic storm that we've been watching for the past, hour?
Yeah, more than that, I think.
Right.
Now.
So, but the only other severe thunderstorm warnings, they are out of our viewing area. So if you are looking around right now, we are seeing that one tornado warning just west of Hereford. We do have a couple of flash flood warnings, including near Hereford and kind of off west into the New Mexico, right at that Texas-New Mexico state line. But no other severe thunderstorm warnings. So if you are worried about threats for tornadoes, big hail, anything like that, as of right now, there are no issuances of any kind like that for anywhere else in the viewing area. So if you live anywhere else, you are good for the moment. We're not looking to see right now. Hopefully it's just some good soaking rain for everyone here in the Panhandle. We can always use the moisture for sure. So I'm going to get another check and see on that.
Yeah, while you're doing that, let's talk the flash flood or the flood warnings, the difference. Flooding as opposed to flash flooding is a slower rise. Flash flood is a faster rise that can literally be in minutes, and that's the kind of thing that that tops over a roadway. And if you even drive up on that, those types of incidents with a flash flood, even if you see something like that, you want to get and back away from it as quickly as you can, because those water levels can rise in a minute or less. And so if you're close to that and you're driving, you want to get away from that as soon as you can, because you don't know how quickly that may or may not start to increase in coverage and intensity and depth as well.
The rotation does look like it's weakening.
Yeah,
the
100%.
bright colors are not as bright as they were, which is a good
Yep.
sign. Regardless of if there was a tornado on the ground or if this was just a rotating storm, these lighter colors, if you watch this time lapse, there are some brighter pinks in the red and some light greens and almost some whites in the green. As we move throughout time, you do see that those lighter colors do fade out a little bit. That is indication that that rotation is slowing down, getting a little bit weaker, which is a good sign that this storm, if it's rotating, if it's trying to produce a tornado, or if it has, this is a good sign that it has lifted and it is weakening and looking to not be as intense with that rotation as it was a little bit earlier.
And you're exactly right. And the further good news is, with the other two circulations and with this one, we saw those coming. I don't see another spot that is suggesting that we're going to get a new rotation. That is good news there, because I think what we may hopefully see is the tornado warning be allowed to expire in just 2 minutes at 11:30. It doesn't mean that there won't be another one a little later on tonight, but as we've been saying, that tornado threat overall will be decreasing and will transfer mainly over to a flooding threat during the overnight period. Still some thunder and lightning, still some brief gusty winds here and there, and potentially some hail in some spots as well. And in fact, you've got the text box up there. The hail potential now seems to be maybe up to 1 inch as opposed to larger, because even the reflectivity core there, that thing on the left where we would be looking for the pink to see larger hail, we're not seeing too much of that as well. But that new velocity product is looking real good with regard to the dissipation of any rotation or tornado there.
Right.
Yes, sir. Andy's here. He's going to tell me when we're going to go on TV.
So our next break is 3.5 minutes long. You would have to use the whole time because it's a local break. Is that okay?
No.
No?
Let's jump in and say.
He just doesn't have anything to go back to.
Let's jump.
CBS is on black during that break.
Okay, let's jump in and tell people that this is going to be expired. Let me get Max again on the velocity.
Jump in now and tell people that it's going to be expired.
Okay. As for everyone on Facebook asking, yes, the app that we are using to look at radar is called Radar Scope. We've been using it for quite a while, so it is a good app to have.
3, 2.
Another very quick update. Sorry to clip the end of the interview there, but we're coming up on some technical problems that make that necessary to do. But what I wanted to tell you is the tornado warning. We feel very confidently that the tornado warning, finally, for Deaf Smith County will be allowed to expire here in, well, right here at 11:30. We'll see if that drops out. But again, this is now, the rotation is now well to the northwest of Hereford, drifting northward, but significantly weakening.
We have a
So if
new
you want to
update.
quickly, oh, they're going to go, okay, they're changing to a severe thunderstorm warning, perhaps.
Yes, we have a new update from the National Weather Service chat. The circulation has weakened.
Good.
So it is changing changing from a tornado warning to a severe thunderstorm warning with 1-inch hail possible, 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, and the National Weather Service says they're going to continue to monitor for any further activity, but we have downgraded out of a tornado warning at this time.
Okay, that's fantastic. So tornado warning's been allowed to expire. We'll keep the stream going for another couple of minutes and go back to programming. Thank you for that.
Okay, take it back.
Okay, cool. Yeah, he didn't want to use, he wasn't going to use the whole time.
Okay, going back, looking again on some Facebook comments. If you're just joining us, that tornado warning that was west of Hereford proper has been allowed to expire. It has been downgraded to a severe thunderstorm warning. Still could produce some hail, still could produce some good winds,
Give us a
but
minute.
not looking at any tornadic rotation with this storm. It has been weakening over the past several minutes. If you are just joining us, we've got a lot of people in the comments asking, well, what about Canyon? What about Happy? What about Hereford? What about Clarendon? What about Claude, Groom? Anywhere else in the Panhandle, we have no issued warnings at this time. The only ones in the Panhandle and the News Channel 10 viewing area, we have that severe thunderstorm warning right here in Hereford that will expire in about 45 minutes. We have the flash flood warning that is in the same area as that a severe thunderstorm warning, as that cell just west of Hereford has been just sticking around and dumping some rain off in that area, which could cause some flash flooding, some very fast rainfall rates in a very short amount of time. That is issued from just west of Hereford all the way to the Texas-New Mexico state line, but no other severe thunderstorm warnings, no other warnings around the Texas Panhandle right now. So if you are worried about any other dangers anywhere else in the Panhandle, you are good. We're hoping that for the rest of the night, we're just going to see lots of good soaking rain, give the Panhandle some much needed moisture, but no other severe thunderstorm warnings in the region right now. We have that one just west of Hereford. We have had some people saying, oh, I didn't hear the sirens go off in Hereford. This tornado warning did not include Hereford, and the tornado track, the rotation that we were watching, was not heading towards Hereford either. It was heading in a north-northwest direction. It has weakened and is falling apart as well. So we are not looking to see any sirens needed to be sounded anywhere, and thankfully that rotation has weakened, and we are seeing that tornado warning has expired as of 11:30. We're just down to a severe thunderstorm warning.
Okay, very good. Excellent analysis. Thank you for Shelby for that. Heavy rain going to be the primary threat during the overnight period, even after midnight, and even on toward daybreak tomorrow. We're going to go ahead and end the stream. We're going to keep an eye on things and see if we see any significant rotations developing once again. We'll continue to let you know about that. For right now, thank you for staying with us here on the stream, and we appreciate you, and stay safe overnight and into tomorrow morning.